Hey everybody, this is Goapele, and this is Rolling Out, Breaking Down the Bars.
What's going on, everybody? Back again here for Rolling Out, Breaking Down the Bars. Your host, Malik Brown. And of course, when I say breaking down the bars, we have an amazing, talented artist in the building. And today, I'm with no other. Look, I think she's a legend, y'all. I think she's a legend. I don't know about y'all, but look, I'm here with a singer, songwriter, producer. She does it all. Goapele is here with me today. Goapele, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for that warm introduction. That's fabulous.
Thank, thank you so much. But thank you for coming on, speaking with us. Like I said earlier, you're on a little tour right now. You're going city wineries and places. Just first of all, just how has that experience been this year or this
It's
summer?
been really nice. It's kind of strange that I feel like I'm kind of coming out of this time warp, really like still from the pandemic of, you know, getting to some of the cities that I love and doing public shows. Like it's been a minute. I never stopped performing, but over the past few years as it got a little rocky during the pandemic, it was like virtual shows or private shows and all this kind of stuff. And thankfully during that time I got to finish an album, and so I feel like back to life and getting to connect with people. It was so nice to get to connect with folks in the Atlanta audience. And I even have like extended family out there, and it just felt like a party, like, okay, we're back in the world.
You know, it's a funny story. The week before you came, well, yeah, the week you came, I had a therapy session. And of course, we just talked about how Beyonce was here the same week, and my
Yes.
was like, yeah, everybody's going to see Beyonce, but I'm going to see Goapele at City Winery. I was
That
like,
means so much to me.
right.
You were like, and Beyonce was there for 3 nights. So I was like, fit it in, please. I I appreciated that. And it felt really good, because if I wasn't performing, I would have went and saw Beyonce too. You know what I mean? But I was happy the shows were still sold out and people had great energy. And just as a reminder of like there's room for all of us. There's enough love in this world, and support to go around, you know? I feel like in this industry, it can kind of like, we can feel like lone rangers or whatever, but it's just like, I mean, that's just like a perfect example, you know?
For sure. Just your music, and everything that it brings. You talk about healing and you talk about soul. Just I feel like it's kind of we're kind of in this space now where we kind of need that music, that inspirational music, that calm music with everything that's going on right now.
Mm.
Just talking about colors and how you were able to create that during the pandemic. How was that process? You talked about it shortly, but just being able to create colors and the songs that are on that list and
Yeah.
pandemic, how was that?
Um, well, I mean, it was really different creating this time, because in the beginning of when I was recording in the thick of the pandemic, it's like I was recording at home, with my own equipment, and then sending it to a musician to put a layer on it, and then sending it to this musician to put another layer on it. And it was very different than just all being in the studio and creating at the same time. And then you want it to feel like one piece at the end of the day. But I feel like what we had was like the gift of time. Nothing was rushed. Everything was forced to slow down. So it was like things could marinate. I could revisit ideas. I could listen to it and be like, is that saying it exactly how I want? Do we want to do this over? And um, so I feel like just a lot got poured into this project. And I think um, it also was a time of where I felt it was just kind of a vulnerable and reflective time. And it just made me want to be so real and honest. And I feel like as a songwriter, I think all of my songs are, you know, authentic. That's one of the reasons I've stayed independent, so I can really say and express myself how I want to. But I feel like I got to even go another layer of just kind of like, I'm just going to put it on the table. You know what I mean? I don't want to get caught up in fantasy or how, you know, sometimes music can be an escape to, which there's room for that. But on this project, I really wanted it to just feel really raw and honest. And so Time Heals, the song that I put out already that Keon Harold is on and all these amazing musicians, kind of just speaks to trusting time and trusting the process and, you know, being grateful for what we have. And then I'm about to put out a song that's next, which is Purple, that I'm really excited about. That's a little more in the vibe, like it's kind of Prince influence, who was just like a huge inspiration in my life. And I just love his approach to love songs and just like the edginess and the beauty. And I also wanted for this project to feel like not just sound, but it's also visual, you know, like people could feel it past just one medium. And I mean, that's the only song that's based after a specific color because it was just so clear to me, you know, and I could see it as I was writing it. But there's like, you know, a scent that goes along with it, limited edition candles, and just like I want for people to lean kind of into the experience.
You know, you talk about of course, Time Heals. And you know the lyrics, sure as the sun will rise each morning, sure as the day returns tonight without our say, I'm finally trusting and knowing that time heals all things. You know, like I said, we're kind of in this moment of, you know, some people are trying to heal from things. You know, some people are trying to face things straightforward. And this song I kind of gives people that reassurance that everything is gonna be okay. Just
Yeah. And we can't control everything either. You know what I mean? It's like whatever higher power you believe in, it's like the sun and the stars were here before us and they are going to be consistent. And it's like we can only control so much in our own lives and then just like let go and know that eventually it'll be okay.
and just your music in general. I just want to know where did you kind of, why did you decide to go in that lane when it all started? Of course, you know, people say neo soul, some people say, you know, R&B, of course, but why did you decide to go in a lane of, it kind of feels like love, inspiration, compassion, kind of just everything all in one? Why did you decide to go in that lane with your music?
I feel like that's kind of the lane I've always been. I listen to every type of music. You know what I mean? And it's like if I want to turn up, I might be listening to, you know, something else. But for me, I mean, I love being a part of people's personal transformation, you know, and I don't feel like everything I write has to be positive. More so, I just want it to feel authentic, and I would love to leave people feeling better than they did before they heard it. And yeah, so I feel like that's just kind of a natural place for me. Um, and I probably naturally lean kind of down tempo. So I think I just wasn't fighting it on this project. what'll come next is gonna be, you know, another vibe, but I wanted to just let this be what it was, you know, and not force it.
For you, of course, this is your seventh studio album. What's it? What does it feel the difference between maybe your first studio album and this one? What's the biggest difference for you?
The difference, well, yeah, now this is my sixth album. You could say 6.5 or 7 because the first was, you know, a re-release just with adding some songs after we were independent. But I don't know. I would say maybe my comfort, you know, my confidence. Um, I feel, you know, a little more at home in myself and in the studio than I did in the beginning. You know, in the beginning, it was still like such a big test. And then there's kind of figuring out how to um give people something that hopefully they'll enjoy, but not compare it to everything I've done in the past. And so I don't know. I mean, I try not to overthink it, but I think the biggest thing with this project was like me being able to see it on different levels and me figuring out how to make it more of an atmosphere rather than just song. Like I really wanted these 7, 8 songs to fit together. Like you could just play it through. Sometimes I'm like, I want to give this part of myself and this part of myself and this part, you know, and it was just like this, like, let's just let it be what it is. And even down to the album cover, there's a visual artist I worked with named Human, an amazing visual artist out of the Bay Area. And just, you know, she painted original art for it. So I just feel like everything I was able to pour into. I'm sorry if it's loud where I am. Is it loud? Got
No,
like all the street sounds. No, I'm good.
so talking about, you know, just the impact you've had in your career and on other people as well. I mean, we could talk about how you've had it in hip hop as well. Of course, you talk about people like Drake, YG, using, of course, your the samples, and then of course, you know, with Snoop Dogg, I think that was pretty big as well. But just talking about 50 years of hip hop, how has that kind of impacted your career? Of course, from Oakland. So you got to talk about, of course, the Oakland hip hop rappers as well. But how has your history in hip hop kind of impacted your career?
Okay, so for me, my family, like there was always music playing. And it's not because we were all musicians, it's just because my parents love music. We were around a lot of musicians, so it was like always something going from, you know, Nina Simone, Aretha Franklin, Miriam Makeba, all Bob Marley, all of these things, right? That then I started hearing samples of in hip hop, and that got even wider. But I would say like, so there was my parents' collection, but then there was like mine and my older brother's music collection that probably started at like 10. And when I was with listening to like Whitney Houston and stuff, he was listening to Run DMC and the Beastie Boys. And so that already at like 10 years old was influencing me, and like Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince and like junior high, like I never aspired to be a rapper, but the production of it, you know what I mean? Like the samples and like the drums and the bass and the rawness, I have just always loved that. And like, and especially like in the early 90s where I feel like it was influencing me, you know, with, you know, I don't know, let's say like Nas and Tribe Called Quest and De La Soul and, leaning into some of those jazz samples and soul samples. I feel like that is what has impacted so many of us that are associated with neo soul music, because it's like we were loving Al Green and all of these things, but also loving how early hip hop was bringing a different element to it. And then the way that we do soul R&B is kind of like this gumbo of that. So it's always been huge for me. And some of my first, I would say I've probably collaborated with more MCs than singers. And that's just the way it's been from, you know, the guys in Souls of Mischief and Hieroglyphics, which ended up leading to our first distribution deal with Sky Blaze, to E40, Planet Asia, Zion I, AC Alone, getting to work with Snoop on Hey Boy when I did the Strongest Glass album. And there's just a lot, Rex Life, Raj, there's so many different hip hop artists that I've got to collaborate with. And I love that balance. And it was like so much a part of the shows that I got inspired to and was going to, all through high school and on.
And you kind of, describe just the evolution.
Oh, and I didn't even get on the Atlanta. Oh my gosh.
You can't forget us. You can't forget us.
Okay, because first of all, like Outkast is one of my favorite groups. And it makes me so happy when I hear them say Souls of Mischief and Hieroglyphics like impacted them. You know what I mean? Because they're so cutting edge and like that have just done so much beautiful music. But I got to work with folks in the Dungeon family and Rico, like we have some unreleased stuff. But I went to Atlanta, and worked with some folks and even KO out there. KP so amazing. And there's like, oh my gosh. I'm like, Mr. DJ, like there's Drummer Boy. Is Drummer Boy from Atlanta?
I want to say Memphis.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We worked together in Atlanta and mixed in Atlanta, but I'm not sure if he's from there. But so much talent out of there. I'm sorry I had to cut you off. I was just like,
you're good. You're good.
I cannot not have that in there.
So, like I said, you're kind of describing the evolution of hip hop. For R&B, I want to ask you, how do you see the current state of R&B? Of course, a lot of people say it's toxic now, or it's not the same as it used to be. For you, how do you view the current?
Yeah, it's never going to be the same, right? Because it's like music is always evolving or leaning back to the past and, doing different versions. I mean, I think it's really wide open right now just because there's so many platforms that we can put out our music that there's like so many ways people can blow up. You don't have to wait for a deal. You don't even have to start a label to put out music and start building your own thing. So, there's give and take with that because there's just so much saturation. And sometimes it's kind of hard to weed through like what's authentic. But I like that the playing field is more open, and I feel like there's more room for uniqueness. It's not like we just have to be one way because people are getting exposed even before they're getting marketed. So it's not like getting narrowed down to like, we don't know what to do with you, so we're not gonna let you get out there yet. Like people are just like out there sharing their stuff, and some stuff breaks through, you know? And so I love that. Like I feel like artists like her and Alex Isley and um Jasmine Sullivan, and there's all these artists that are probably in the lineage of like, when Lauryn Hill, like she's a giant. And then even from her like amazing produced stuff that like James Poyser and all those folks were involved with, then her starting to do like even acoustic stuff. You could hear her as a singer-songwriter. And I feel like that was so raw, her unplugged thing now. But I just love that there's like all this variety of Black women singer-songwriters that it can sound acoustic and just have some broken down drums, or it can have, you can like dance to it or whatever, but there's just room for the different, like the complexities, and diversity in who we are. I used to be like, I'm doing like eclectic soul music. Like, we don't even have to name it at this point. It's just like, it's a lot of us out here now doing our thing and not trying to fit too narrowly into a box.
So 2001, Closer, of course, comes out, Closer to My Dreams. Everybody loves it. Looking to 2023 now, did you reach your dreams?
Wow. Yes. Yes. And I won't say that in a way that I'm satisfied, or in any way have hit a ceiling. There's like so much farther that I think I should go. But I'll say, like, to be honest with you, my first dream was just to have a career in music, period. You know? So just to be able to have a music career and sustain myself through music and do what I love for the past like 20 years now, that's the first dream, you know? And to have a family, I have a beautiful daughter, to be able to have like a life too. That's another dream and accomplishment. When I first started, I was just like, can I sell 1,000 CDs? Okay, we sold that. Can I sell 2,000 CDs? Can I have my music in stores and people actually buy it? You know what I mean? Can I sell out shows? Can I impact people? Can I have some kind of positive impact on the world? Can I change anybody's life? And then it was like, can I sell 100,000 copies of an album? And I had to like make measures of success that like before it felt like wild, like to never put out an album and not be signed to a major label and be like, I want to sell 1,000 copies. Like that seemed almost like, give me a break. But at the same time, I was like, I'm not gonna start with, can I sell 1,000,000? Like I wanted to be outside of my comfort zone, but tangible enough so I could reach it and then get past that. Okay, like, it may not be, it wasn't in a couple weeks or a couple months, but then it's like, oh, a few, 100,000. Like we can get to the next album, we can get, and just I feel like what Closer has done way exceeded my expectations. I never would have imagined that. And, there's times that I'm like, ooh, I have not done enough. There's so much more I want to do.
Well, look, we appreciate you for everything you're doing and continue to doing. Thank you so much for coming on, Goapele, for coming on, speak with us.
Thank you.
Colors, Time Heals. Before we go, let the people know where they can find the music. If you have a date, I know it says September, but if you have a date for the album,
Yes.
let the people know.
Yes. So you can find me on all platforms. The music is on all platforms right now. Time Heals is on all platforms. And it's just look up my name, Goapele. Purple is coming out September 8th. I'm excited about that. We have a video and everything. And I don't have a date for the album yet, but I'm thinking end of October. So very soon, very soon. And for folks that are, I was just in Atlanta, but for folks that are coming to the shows in other cities, you can just go to goapele.com for that. And I'm sharing new music and some unreleased stuff at some of that. So you'll get a little taste.
Great. Well, y'all heard it here first. Goapele, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
And we're supporting you and rolling out. Appreciate everything.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Okay.